It's David coming to you today from my sister's kitchen table in Jackson, Missouri, visiting my parents and my sister here this week. And so thought I would provide the Module 6 preview for you from their house. So let's get started. Module 6 is probably my favorite module in this entire course because I think it's where the rubber hits the road as it relates to thinking and reasoning. And you are presented in three chapters. So you have to read three chapters this week, chapter 12, 13, and 14. You're presented with different types of reasoning, and I am sure that you will be able to relate perhaps to each one. Chapter 12 talks about comparative reasoning, which is an easy form of reasoning, if you will. What you try and do is say this particular situation is like that. So you're comparing different things to come to some level of understanding. So you're projecting the familiar with the or to the unfamiliar, and so this can be an effective way of getting to an idea, getting to a thought. What you do is you look for patterns in the things that are familiar to be able to project those onto the things that are unfamiliar. But with all of this and all the ease, this can be very, very risky. I won't go into those because you have a question this week that talks about you presenting those things. So chapter 12 talks about comparative reasoning. Chapter 13 talks about ideology or ideological reasoning. Ideological reasoning, which is probably seen, um, David's opinion, not sourced, way too much today. These are the firmly held beliefs or your own personal ideology that you have that will drive your thinking. And so these typically are the ones that you rally your thoughts around things that you believe to be true based upon your own personal ideology, your biases, and so on. So you will bend your thoughts to fit your own preconceived notions, your preconceptions. Okay, these are very, very difficult to change, and this is sometimes referred to as top-down thinking. So you start with, this is my ideology, and so therefore everything below it has to fit into that. Okay, sound like the political environment today that you may be? Sounds like the last church you went to, right? So ideological reasoning in chapter 13, obviously there are risks associated with this as well. And then chapter 14 talks about empirical reasoning or bottoms up thinking. So you don't start with some preconceived notion, you start with facts and you build your reasoning based upon the facts and the observations that you have. And to me, this is the deepest and best form of reasoning. It's very inductive, it's very open to ideas, but it also has to meet and verifications. And so it's not something that you build without verifying uh, as you go forward. So those three types of reasoning this week, I think you'll be able to wrap your head around pretty easily and talk about the pluses and the minuses for each and the challenges associated with that. Okay, the discussion this week talks about how has social media influenced evaluation and reasoning. How has social media influenced comparative, ideological, empirical reasoning? Okay, social media, I believe, was designed to bring us together, right? I mean, it was designed to reconnect with friends, family, and people from your high school and all the other things. Um, but if you think about social media and the algorithms that are used in Facebook, for example, Facebook's algorithms are designed for you to see more of the things that you like and less of the things that you don't like, right? So if you think about that for a second and you only see the things that you like, how open might you be to new levels of thinking? If you can just put out of the picture anything that doesn't fit into your ideological reasoning, right? So, if you think about the challenges that you have to become an empirical thinker going forward, Facebook and other types of social media that give you the ability to wipe out any thought that somebody else has that you don't like may provide a challenge for you to move to that next level of thinking. So, has social media accomplished its task? And this type of influence, what type of influence does it have on reasoning? Okay, the assignment this week talks about what are the benefits and risks of each of these three types of reasonings that you're presented. Make sure that before you dive into this, and you hear me say this a lot, define, then apply. Make sure that you provide a very clear definition for each of the three types of reasoning before you begin to go in and talk about the benefits and the risks of each. Okay? I hope you find this is a fun lesson. As I said earlier, this is probably the one I like the most. Miscellaneous this week. Tests were much better last week. I'm not sure if it was just an easier test or an easier concept, but the grades were much better this week. So continue to focus on it. Continue to focus on the readings of the material. Continue to work on paraphrasing versus direct quotes. And this wouldn't be a video if I didn't say, make the CSU online library your best friend, okay, to find academic and professional peer-reviewed sources that you can use in your discussion boards and also in your writing. All right, that's Module 6. 2 weeks to go. Can you believe it? This has flown by for me. May have been a little longer for you. But if you need me this week, make sure you reach out and contact me. I'm heading back to Seattle shortly, so the final video from this class you'll probably see next week from somewhere on the Olympic Peninsula in Seattle, west of or Western Washington. All right. Have a great week. Talk to you soon. Contact me if you need me. Take care.